it's Faye. Today I wanted to talk to you about Brookhaven, which is a new farming simulation game coming out just next week. In Brookhaven, a wizard has trapped you in a storybook, transporting you to the magical town of Brookhaven. With spells, swords, and the power of friendship, begin your new life in this strange land. But remember, escape may yet be possible for those who unravel this world's mysteries. Brookhaven is a passion project from solo dev Little Amethyst, and you might have heard of the game when it first launched on Kickstarter back in June of 2021. With an honestly modest first goal of $2,000, the Kickstarter ended in August of 2021 with $23,921 total raised. All of the stretch goals except for two were reached with this amount. And a lot of these stretch goals included new areas to add to the game, such as a new zone in the Goblin City, a zombie hut for your pet zombies, new swamp and desert biomes, and being able to train and level up your minions. Some of the rewards for pledging included early access and beta tester roles. And beta testing has been happening in these past few weeks. Diving back into the content of Brookhaven, there is a lot of farming to do. You can grow vegetables, herbs, flowers, nuts, and fruit trees, and you can use the items from these trees and crops in recipes, alchemy recipes, quest lines, or as gifts to villagers. Something extremely unique that Brookhaven is promising us for a farming simulator is the inclusion of mythical creatures. The tagline of this story being right out of a storybook is not just for show. The game includes witches, werewolves, centaurs, mermaids, vampires, yetis, slimes, mummies, zombies, ghosts, demons, goblins, talking animals, and talking vegetables, and so much more. This is my favorite clip so far with this teaser of what I believe to be your player character turning into a werewolf. I could be wrong though. There will also be dungeons to explore with dangerous creatures to fight alongside puzzles and quest lines. And that's the thing. While you're going to become an amazing farmer in Brookhaven, you are also encouraged to learn how to perform magic. Magic is the backbone of the storybook world, and you will need it to complete quests to figure out the mysteries hidden within your storybook. There is a little hint that you'll be able to either return to your world of origin, or you might decide to stay after you discover some of these mysteries. This reminds me a little bit of Graveyard Keeper, without getting too spoilery, but your Graveyard Keeper file will end if you decide to leave the world, and I'm wondering if something similar might happen here in Brookhaven. I did a poll here on YouTube recently asking you what your favorite parts of farming sim games were, and the top choice was dating, followed by farming, and all of the other things were way below it. So you might be happy to know that there is indeed romance and the ability to marry a partner in Brookhaven. One of the FAQs on Brookhaven's Kickstarter reads, "Can you romance and start a family with any gender?" The answer reads, of course you can. Diversity and representation is incredibly important to me, having grown up with a gay parent myself. This is a very promising response to this question, and I'm looking forward to meeting all the characters in Brookhaven. We are truly lacking in diversity when it comes to farming simulation games. Stardew Valley is a wonderful example for farming games, but a horrible example of diversity in gaming. One argument I've heard is since farming games tend to let you date whoever you want to, regardless of your gender identity, they must be LGBTQIA friendly. But I personally don't think that's a very strong argument, especially given that you're typically only allowed to choose female or male, and most NPC stories never touch on the NPC sexuality at all. That being said, creating a system that lets a player date NPCs, but then also letting NPCs have the room for their own sexuality is a monumental challenge. The game's Sunnyside is tackling that challenge, but that doesn't mean that every game needs to or even should to get its story across. The fact that Little Amethyst felt comfortable enough to share a value of diversity when talking about the game makes me extremely excited to play a game that truly has marginalized communities in mind. The game is also promising us the ability to have children who will grow from infanthood, attend classes as children, and make their own life in town. You might see where I'm going with this, but I think the biggest potential pitfall of Brookhaven is overpromising. I haven't played the game yet, and I am so ready to try it in just about a week, but there are a lot of farming simulator games that struggle to deliver on things particularly related to generations, children, and expansive areas of the map. Now, just because other games might have failed to fulfill promises doesn't mean we should hold that against a new dev or a different game, but it's something to keep in mind. On the other hand, the game has been being playtested by the community over these past few weeks, and taking a quick look into the Discord server and the open feedback and bug reporting sections, the game is indeed extremely enticing and extremely fun for everyone who's been testing so far. And considering that Little Amethyst has been tackling these bugs literally non-stop, I would be very surprised if the game was not extremely enjoyable when it releases on February 18th. The UI for Brookhaven looks absolutely gorgeous. There's a little owl clock in the upper right that I think is just full of charm and character. And the pixel art is extremely easy to follow and very charming as well. You could say there are some similarities between the pixel art in Brookhaven and Stardew Valley. And I'm always open to being wrong, but I do not think that this game is copy-pasting Stardew Valley. There are some devs out there, unfortunately, who literally try to just rip the pixel art from Stardew Valley and copy paste, and I do not think that's what's happening in Brookhaven. I do think that the similarities that you're seeing are just because of pixel sprites being small, but if anything comes up, I would be more than willing to look into it. Brookhaven is set to release on February 18th, and the price for Brookhaven is actually going to be $15. For a bit of context, that is the same price as Stardew Valley at full price, although Stardew Valley does go on discount at some times, and it's way under the price of Sunhaven, which is currently in early access for $25. From what I've gathered from Brookhaven's Discord, there seems to actually be more content in Brookhaven than Sunhaven currently. And for a $10 price difference, it'll be really interesting to see if that content is playable and very enjoyable once it releases on the 18th, compared to the early access yet more expensive version of Sunhaven, that I'm still very much a fan of. When I was looking into Brookhaven, I came across one other roadblock that might hurt this game's growth. Brookhaven, the name, is actually also used in Roblox to describe a game mode and roleplay area where players can explore different buildings, locations, towns, stores, churches, schools, playgrounds, and more. If you search for Brookhaven on Google, on YouTube, anywhere, you're probably going to find the Roblox RP, and I honestly think this is going to hurt the farming game Brookhaven. To be completely honest, I do not know that much about Roblox at all, but some of the criticism about the Roblox's Brookhaven area is that it's considered a dating hotspot and can be sometimes seen as overrated. Whether or not you think that the Roblox Brookhaven is a great place or a not great place, you have to admit that it being so prevalent under that name might hurt this farming game's chances. While I've touched on what I'm super excited for in Brookhaven, whether it's the mythical creatures and the magic casting and the farming, there are actually so many more mechanics to the game, like cooking, fishing, bug catching, foraging the land, improving your skills, customizing your player appearance, and more. So I would love to hear what you think of this upcoming game and whether or not you're interested in giving it a try. To celebrate the launch of Brookhaven, there is also going to be a dev Q&A. You can submit questions to Little Amethyst in the Brookhaven Discord server until February 13th, and answers will be released on the 16th, just 2 days before game launch. Some of the questions that have already been asked include whether or not modding will be added to the game, what the dev's inspiration for the setting of the world of Brookhaven is, who the dev thinks the most popular NPC will be, and if there are any plans to expand Brookhaven in the future. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the dev Q&A, and I'm so looking forward to giving Brookhaven a try, hopefully on stream or at least in some videos in the next few weeks. Let me know what you think below, and I will see you next time. Bye!